After the fact, he loved to sing. My mother was a piano player. She could play the flute, she could play a lot of interesting instruments, but the piano was usually the primary one she went to. And she would teach us. I started, well, my siblings started even before I was born, but my sisters started taking piano and violin. My brother followed suit, and I thought it looked fun, so I wanted to give it a go. The problem with my parents is when you start something, you have to finish it. And finishing to my parents is like 20 years later. My parents controlled me through my music. They forced me to practice 40 minutes a day times 5 days a week. So you can imagine. I practiced on average an hour and 40 minutes times 2. On average a week was 3 1/3 hours a week. That's over 1,200 hours a year. So, on average, I played about, over the course of a year, it was about 2 days I would play a year. We did performances at church, and when I was a teenager, I joined an orchestra for 2 years. I mean, it was okay. I mean, by the time I enjoyed it when I was 13. We went to a piano teacher in Wasilla when we lived in Palmer. And when it wasn't my turn, I would sit in the car and do my homework and my schoolwork. I remember it being pretty cold, so my mother would drive around, and it was usually on Thursdays. Sometimes it was Tuesdays, but it was usually Thursdays. Thursday afternoon, anywhere from 1 to 4. And I did enjoy being inside her house and just learning about violin. Piano wasn't as fun for me. When I got to be around 17, which would have been around 2011, I told my parents I no longer wanted to. Well, it was even before that. When I was 15, in 2009, I told my mother I didn't want to practice music anymore. It just wasn't my passion. She forced me to do an extra 1.5 years until I was 17. So imagine for 1.5 years doing something you just no longer want to do anymore. My parents were so controlling. And they forced me to perform. It was usually secular music, but later on, when I became 13, 14, 15, they started doing performances at church. And it was more religious hymns. Sometimes we would sing, do duets, but it was usually violin. I did sing in front of congregations. I didn't like it. I never really liked performing. But I never said anything because in that family, oh dear.